Hello, folks. Welcome to the Mindset Artistry Podcast. I'm your host, David DiPaolo. Thank you for joining. This is episode number 21. Thank you for joining the Mindset Movement. I appreciate you being along on the journey. Today's episode is about, it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. I talked about this before, but I want to dive into this a little bit further because this is something that I really, truly believe. This is also something that kind of fires me up a little bit because I see other people handle this so poorly in their life. I see so many people just not take responsibility and not take accountability, cry about stuff, complain about stuff. And, you know, when you do that, it's just showing weakness. It's making you feel bad about yourself, feel sorry about yourself. It's killing your confidence. It's not allowing you to move forward. It's keeping you stuck where you are because all you're doing is looking at these things that may have happened to you that may not have been your fault. Yeah, they may not have been fair. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you got to get stuck there and just, you know, be a victim and stay in that little place that you're at that is not helping you. It's not helping you progress. It's not helping you push forward. It's not helping you get better. And it's not helping your success and your overall development in your life. So I'm going to give some examples of some things. And, you know, these are going to maybe sound like something you've never heard before. And it may be something that just clicks in your mind and like, man, he's right. I never thought about this, even though I've been doing this, right? But look, the easiest way to explain this, you know, I said it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. Like that's life. You're going to go through tough things in your life. You're going to go through difficult and hard things in your life. Most of the things that happen to you may not be your fault. And it isn't fair that you have to deal with it. And it's not fair that it happened to you. And it may have been maybe a freak accident or something that you know, never would have thought of happened to you. But yeah, look, it happened. And now it's your responsibility to deal with it, to make the best of it, to, you know, maybe even take that experience or whatever it was and learn from it and get better. Maybe it opens up some other opportunities for you. Maybe it opens up some other doors to you, whatever it is, but you need to figure it out. Okay. Like you need to figure it out and make it work for you instead of, again, like I said, just being stuck there and being a victim and crying and complaining about it. Like, yeah, is it okay to get frustrated about something and angry that something happened? Sure. Yeah, I get it. You know, it's a natural reaction. You're going to get frustrated when something happens, but that shouldn't last all that long. And if you could work on it, not having it at all, where you don't get frustrated and aggravated and mad about things, and you just take it as it is what it is and keep moving forward, when that's what you're really pushing for here. But I get it. We're all human. Things are going to get the best of us sometime, but don't let it hold you back. Don't let it kill you. Don't let it crush you. Don't let it keep you down. You got to continue moving forward. So look, it may not have been your fault, but it is your responsibility. Oh, the best analogy here is you tripped over something, right? Like something like fell out and you tripped over it and you fell down and you banged your knee or your head or whatever, right? Yeah, that wasn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to get up. It's your responsibility to dust yourself off, figure it out. What happened? What do I got to do to get better here? What's catch your bearings? Like, yeah, it wasn't your fault that it happened, but your responsibility to get up. You're not going to lay there for the rest of your life. You're not going to lay there and cry and pout like a baby. You get up and you keep moving, right? That's the premise of this, right? But let's look at different scenarios. Let's look at different, you know, things that may occur in your life, okay? Let's look at work. And, you know, this is a really good one here. A lot of time when you're working with other people, you have coworkers. If you're a manager, you have people working under you. If you're the owner of the business, you have people working under you. If it's a large business, you may have a lot of people working under you. Whatever it is, you are going to have people around you that are working, okay? You all work for this company. You work under the umbrella of this company. You are a part of it. You are a part of that organization. So whether you like it or not, when something happens at that company and something goes wrong at that company, yeah, you may not have caused that issue. You may not have caused that problem. You may not have made this thing happen that, you know, maybe a customer is upset about, or you ruined something, you broke something, you destroyed something, you ruined the contract. Like something happened in this company that, you know, it wasn't a good thing that it happened, right? And it may not have been your fault. Maybe your coworker made the mistake. Maybe someone didn't give you the right tools. Maybe someone gave you broken tools. Maybe someone got into an argument with the customer, the client, whatever it is, and now you lost this contract, right? None of that is your fault, right? But it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility as a part of that organization to try to fix it, try to make the best of it, try to help in this scenario. Whatever happened, you got to figure out how to get past it, fix it, make sure it never happens again. But yeah, whatever it was may not have been your fault, but it's your responsibility. It's the responsibility as a whole of that business or that organization from top to bottom. So you are a face of that business, you are a part of that business, and you need to have accountability and understand that and fix it to the best of your ability, or bring it to someone who can, whatever you can do to make it right. And that's important, okay? So you need to have accountability, you need to have responsibility at work, even if it's not your fault. And listen, if you go around fixing other people's problems, if you go around helping other people, helping people get better, helping people that maybe isn't your responsibility or your task, someone's going to notice that, okay? Upper management's going to notice that. The manager is going to notice that. And they're going to say, hey, such and such, stepped in here and saved our ass. Such and such, stepped in here and covered, when we were hurting. Like they went above and beyond. Like they sacrificed. They worked the extra hours. They put in the extra time. They saved this contract. They stopped us from getting a lot worse and getting out of hand. People are going to notice that. And then you're getting your promotion. You're getting the raise. You're moving up in the company. You're better in your career. So do you see how you could take something that was a negative and turn it into a positive? So yeah, it may not have been your fault, but it is your responsibility. And when you accept that, there's a chance you come out on the other end in a better spot. What's better than that, right? So you need to understand that work is a big one with this, because most people work, most people are functioning members of society. You are going to work around other people. You're going to be in difficult situations. You're going to have difficult customers, whatever it is. And it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. And when you do things right, you do it the right way, you do it with the best intention of making the situation better, helping other people. On the other side of that, you will come out better. You will get ahead by doing that. As a business owner myself, I can tell you that when I see that from my staff, I knew who I can rely on and who I can depend on. And they're the people that I'm going to trust more in situations. They're the people that, I'm going to pay more. These are the people that are going to advance in my companies. Believe me, managers and employers look for this stuff, okay? So that's one of the biggest ones. Another one is your family, right? I'm married, I have a wife, I have a son, other family members, obviously, outside of my, immediate little family here. And look, family's tough. And we'll say friends too, right? Friends and family, sometimes it's tough. Everybody's different. Everybody's got other stuff going on. Some people are difficult. Some people have other more advanced issues, drug problems, mental issues. You're going to have to deal with that. You are going to deal with that in your friends and your family, okay? Just plain and simple. And at times, these people, your family, your friends, are going to do messed up shit, okay? They're going to be wrong about things. They're going to be difficult. They're going to cause problems. They are going to cause drama, okay? Now, obviously, you can't control these other people. That is an external factor you have zero control over. Can you try to maybe talk to them, work things out, explain things to them, try to find common ground? Sure you can, but you may not be able to. And they may continue down that path of what they are doing and being difficult, hard to deal with, causing aggravation and stress. That is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So I'm going to keep going back to that. Just you could see that. So yeah, it may not be your fault that someone is the way that they are, but it is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to understand that, to know how to handle it, to maybe distance yourself from that person, to maybe have a talk with them and say, hey, look, we all love you, but you're doing these things wrong. We gotta address this. You could do that nicely where it doesn't have to be completely combative. Like, you have options. So again, not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So you need to figure that out. Things that are going to happen in your life, right? Like as a homeowner or something, or your car, like a tree falls on your house or a tree falls on your car. That is not your fault, right? Terrible, terrible luck. Wish it never happened to anybody. But guess what? When it does, it's your responsibility. You got to deal with it. You got to figure out what you need to do. You got to talk to insurance companies. You got to talk to contractors. You have to figure out how to get it fixed. You have to address it immediately. Not your fault. Bad luck. Terrible thing that happened, but it's your responsibility. I know that doesn't happen every day to people, but it's a good way to look at it, right? You could apply that to most things, anything that can happen in your life. Like tree falls in the damn house, you got to figure it out. Okay? Not your fault. Definitely your responsibility at that point once it happens. The tree's on your house now. Okay? Same thing with like a car accident, right? Like people just drive egregiously anymore, worse and worse than I've ever seen it my whole entire life. I've been driving about 20 years, and it just seems like I think people are getting their driver's license out of a Cracker Jack box at this point. So we know that, right? So yeah, not your fault these people are driving like crazy. Not your fault that this person hit you, but it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility now, okay? Not your fault, but it is your responsibility. When you start thinking this way, when you start understanding that, when you start seeing that these external factors are all around you and they're going to happen and things are going to go wrong and things are going to go bad and things are going to happen to you that's not your fault. But guess what? At the end of the day, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to figure it out. It's your responsibility to maybe take extra precautions, right? So that's what's going to lead me to the next part of this, which is going to be a little bit more in your face and say, hey, you know what? Maybe it is your fault. Maybe there's something you could have done better to avoid this. Maybe you could have still avoided this bad thing that happened to you, even though it wasn't your fault, if you were in a better position. You put yourself in a better spot. You were a little bit more alert. You got ahead of this before it turned into a big problem. You saw that coworker doing things the wrong way, cutting corners, doing this messed up stuff, and you didn't address it with them. You didn't address it with upper level management. And now it got to this point and something bad happened, and maybe it could have been avoided had you, when you first seen this kind of stuff happening, addressed it immediately, right? Maybe when you're driving and you see this person, a block behind you and he's cutting in between cars and he's driving crazy, and, maybe right before he hit you, maybe you could have, noticed that and driven just a little bit more cautiously, knowing that he was going to probably come and cut in front of you too, like a psychopath. Maybe you could have taken it a step further and said, you know what, I'm really just going to go much slower here and just fall back and let this person do what they're going to do, right? Maybe that tree that fell on your house, maybe you knew that it didn't look good. Maybe this whole time looking at it, you're like, this tree, man, it might fall on my house or fall on a neighbor's house one day. I think maybe we should get it cut down. Maybe we should talk to a tree company, see if they can come out, take this down so I feel a little bit safer, right? I know that's, a very unique situation, but the more prepared you are, the more, clear that you are of everything around you, your peripheral vision of everything around you, no matter what. When you understand that, when you're very observant, when you can look at things and mitigate risk, when you can look at things and stop a problem from happening because you see it coming, that's a great way to live, okay? Because now you're not living in this reactive state. You are in a proactive state. So now you're seeing these things unfold, and believe me, the older you get, the more experience that you get, you will start to see these things before they happen. Me being in business as long as I have, I can almost immediately sense when something is wrong. I know when something's wrong with a client. I know when one of my employees is having a problem with something from what they're explaining to me. And I can literally say, we got to get ahead of this right now, or this is going to be a bigger problem. And anytime that I haven't, it always has unfolded that way. The more experience that you have in these things, the more you will see these things coming, and the more that you can address them right away. And I will tell you this right now, the longer you wait, the longer you let things go, the longer that you don't address something and you think it's just going to fix itself or it'll be okay, or maybe we'll get lucky and this bad thing is not going to happen, it will happen, okay? And it will happen 99% of the time. So it's better to face it head on, figure it out. Maybe you got to eat some crow. Maybe something, you got to make it right and make it better for other people. But that's how this goes, both professionally and personally. So the quicker you can get ahead of it, the quicker you can face it head on, make it right in however you can, you will be better off, okay? Everyone around you will be better off. Everyone in the company will be better off. And everyone in your personal life will be better off. When you can get ahead of these things, face them head on, fix and address anything you possibly can, and be as prepared as possible for anything that may happen, and see it ahead of time. See it before it's going to happen. Understand that. Be mindful of it. Be proactive instead of reactive, okay? Look, this stuff, again applies to your personal life and your professional life. And as you get better at this, as you see it happening, and as you stop complaining when something bad does happen, and immediately understand that, yes, this may not have been my fault, but it is my responsibility. It's my responsibility to make it better, fix this, figure out a better way, look for other options. This is how you need to think, okay? Because now, all of a sudden, you're not focusing on the problems and you're focused on the solutions. And that is how you will make every situation in your life better. Stop focusing on the problems, focus on the solutions, get ahead of it. Meet it head on, stop complaining. It may not have been your fault, but it is your responsibility. That's what accountability is. See you all next week.